In this video, we will be looking at pronouns and their syntax. Again, this is very similar to what we find in Biblical Hebrew, but some of the forms are different. The uses are the same, but some of the forms are different. So, for example, who and he are pretty much what you find in Biblical Hebrew. But the second masculine singular, instead of the nun assimilating, the nun appears not assimilated, ant or anta. There is a second feminine singular. It does not actually occur in Biblical Aramaic. First common singular, ana instead of anochi. The third masculine plural can have a number of forms, himo, himon, or inun. Third feminine plural, inin. Second masculine plural, antun. Second feminine plural, again, occurs in Aramaic but not Biblical Aramaic. And first common plural, anachna. In Hebrew it would be anachnu, but in Aramaic, anachna. Now, the uses of the independent personal pronoun. It can be used as the subject of a verb or sentence. So, with a participle, you might find an independent pronoun to indicate the subject. So, I know. It can be used for emphasis. And I, even I. The third person independent pronoun can also function as what is called a copula. In other words, sort of taking the place of the verb to be, which does not really have a present tense in Semitic languages. So here, your God is a God of gods. The is represented by who, the third masculine singular independent pronoun. Is occasionally used similarly to an article in giving determination to a noun, in which case it comes before the noun. So, the statue or that statue. Even though you actually have an aleph on the end of the word for statue, indicating that it is determined or has a definite article, there is more emphasis in adding the who in front of the noun to indicate that it is that particular statue. One odd thing about Biblical Aramaic is that the third person plural pronoun is used as an object as well as a subject, since there is no third person plural suffix. So here we have Yahav, he gave them. Instead of adding a pronominal suffix to the verb Yahav, the himo occurs as a separate word. This is just kind of an oddity of Biblical Aramaic. There are also pronouns which can be attached to other words. They can be used as indirect objects, for example, on a preposition, or as a direct object on a verb, or with a definite direct object marker, which in Biblical Aramaic only occurs once. And they can be used to indicate possession, for example, when added to a noun. Now notice here on the left, we have the various independent pronouns, and on the right, the suffixed pronouns that are their equivalent. And this is somewhat similar to Biblical Hebrew, although note that the third masculine singular is tseri he with a mapik. It can also be ohi when added to a plural noun, or he. But this tseri he is not what you'd find in Biblical Hebrew. And it's a kamete for the third feminine. Na would be the first common, and so on down the line. You could read those at your leisure. And here we have a table with examples of suffixed pronouns placed on nouns. And again, you can take the time to look at this and review what a suffix pronoun would look like on various forms of nouns, both masculine and plural. In this table, you have pronouns added to prepositions. Note that the prepositions le, que, and be tend to take what one might act as though they were singular nouns, whereas the preposition all kind of acts like a plural noun when taking the suffix. This is similar in Hebrew. Notice that the alohi, just kind of memorize that cholam vav he kirikyod. It is the suffix either on all or on a plural verb, a plural noun or a preposition. And here we have forms of suffixed pronouns on verbs, just a few examples. At the end of Rosenthal, there is a table which gives you every single occurrence in Biblical Aramaic. Here are some examples of pronouns added to various other words. The first one, the preposition lamed with tseri he mapik, the pronoun added to it, meaning to or for him. The second instance, alai, upon me. And the third, this is a pronoun added to a verb, yeshama shune, and it means they served him. This can get a little complex, finding out what all of the various consonants and vowels are doing. Ha'elni, bring me, another pronoun added to a verb. Pishra, her interpretation. And your kingdom, Malchut Hom or Malchut Hon. The suffix pronouns function differently depending on the kind of word they are added to. So for example, if one is added to a participle, it is possessive. If it's added to a preposition, it's an object of the preposition, often an indirect object. A noun, it is possessive. If added to a finite verb, it is a direct object.